We are going to get started. All right, welcome everybody. This is Sarah Hine, and I have the pleasure to interview today just an amazing, accomplished, and humble, authentic woman, Elizabeth Benton. I am so excited to interview you and share your, oh my goodness, overcoming story of great success over triumph or tragedy to triumph. So let's share with what you have done. Elizabeth is not only a small business owner, she is a podcaster with an amazing podcast that I recommend all of you listen to, Primal Potential. She has over 10 million downloads. Like, oh my goodness, that's impressive. That's impressive. And she has written an incredible book, Chasing Cupcakes, which we're going to address later, where you can get this book. So good, so inspirational, amazing nuggets in it. This girl has also had this success through her own journey. And when I was reading her bio, she has lost over 100 pounds. Like, that in itself is a massive accomplishment. And you took what you had struggled through and what you had to go through, and you now inspire literally millions of people around the world. Wow. So I just got goosebumps because you're going to hear her authentic story today. And what I think probably impressed me even beyond all of this is that she is truly a pioneer, because she doesn't just stop there. She's always searching for that next thing and that next level of health. And so that's what brought our connection together, was really your search for that next level. So Elizabeth, share with us this amazing journey that you've been on, where you were at and how you're here.
I know. I'm sort of surprised that I'm here too, and I'm thrilled to chat with you today. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so thanks for taking the time to chat with me. I really went through a lot of struggle with my health and my weight that started when I was like a little kiddo. I joke that I was born metabolically disadvantaged, but it's kind of true. My mom was pretty sick while she was pregnant with me and lost weight, and I learned to store fuel and to be really conservative metabolically before I was even born. And so while my sister would eat the same things as me growing up, she was very lean and really tall, and I was really short and really fat, which seems pretty uninteresting and probably would have been, except for the fact that my mom really felt like my overweightness, if we can call it that, my obesity, really, quite frankly, was a reflection on her and her ability to be a good mom. So from the time I was like 5 years old, there was a tremendous amount of pressure to lose weight. And there was a constant verbal and nonverbal message of, you're pretty and you're smart and imagine what you could be if you could just lose this weight.
Wow.
So yeah, what started as just a metabolic issue really quickly became an emotional issue. And food restriction, dieting, overeating in private, sneaking food, all of that kind of stuff really turned what I probably would have grown out of into a decades-long problem and severe obesity and lots of disordered eating patterns. But there was one thing I was sure of, and that was that I didn't want this to define the rest of my life.
Right.
I was desperate for a solution. And I remember at 8 years old, I couldn't fit into my school uniform, and everybody picked on me because I was so overweight. And I remember crying and telling my mom and my aunt, someday I'm going to get through this and I'm going to write a book and I'm going to help other people do the same thing. And if you had told me when I was 8 that it would take me,
Wow.
a few decades, I know, it was sort of
Wow.
what was meant to be from a really young age. And I remember that day. I remember what I was wearing. I remember where I was sitting. And unfortunately, the struggle just got worse through my teens and my 20s. But I finally realized that it was more about my mindset than anything else. that, yeah, there was this food component and yeah, there was this physical component, but the biggest component was the mental component.
Right.
And the disordered mindset was really leading to the disordered behaviors. So I studied nutrition, hoping to find answers, didn't find answers in studying nutrition, really found the answers in diving into my own mindset. And it was at that point that I lost a lot of weight. I paid off over $130,000 in debt,
Wow.
really just by changing my mind. And that was when I started a business because I was serious about helping people. What brought me here is that while I really felt like I made so many strides with my mindset and tons of strides with my choices, eating better, moving more, breaking away from so many destructive mental and physical patterns, there was this physiological piece, this body optimization piece that I knew there was something more. I had come so far, but I wasn't at my potential yet. I was struggling with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And so I knew, okay, we're healthier than we've ever been, but there's more. There's something else. There's a missing piece. And I really understood the microbiome at that point in terms of like gut health, digestion, bloating, constipation, leaky gut. And I didn't really struggle with those things. At least I didn't think there was a problem. It wasn't until I really started to understand the role of the microbiome outside of the gut in our hormones, estrogen, insulin, cortisol, inflammation, all of that kind of stuff, that I thought, maybe this is the piece that I haven't been focused on. And the choices definitely, as we improve them, help our body work better. And same thing with mindset. But there was this untapped potential in the microbiome that really got me curious. Okay, well, what if I invested time and energy into this, the way that I have into improving my choices, the way that I have into improving my mindset, my finances, my business? And I really started to see a change, not only with like my energy and with things that I just thought were normal. Having one bowel movement a day had been normal for me because it was the way it always was. I didn't know that it was a problem or a symptom of a problem.
Not the things people want to talk about, right? But it's true.
It's so true. Yeah, it does. And because, I wasn't struggling with IBS or chronic constipation or anything, it just felt fine, kind of okay. Not a problem, but not a problem. And I started to see things shift. I say that I had this like low grade tension a lot of the time, not physical tension, but like mental and emotional tension that I thought was just being an adult, running a business, doing all of this stuff. And as I started to really prioritize my microbiome, that shifted and lifted.
Wow.
And sleep changed and all of these things. And that's what got me kind of to the point where I was like, I believe in this. I want to know more about this. I want to share more about this. And it's kind of what brought me to this conversation.
Wow. I love that you just keep stretching. I love that you keep stretching. I think that is such a reflection for all of us that most people do maybe one of the things that you've done, if that, but you, my dear, just keep stretching, and it's like, unlayering an onion. So you were studying this microbiome, and you and I met through a dear, dear friend of mine, Brooke Thomas, who is incredibly successful and just has a gift of serving others. And so I met you out at Amare's headquarters because you had to come and see what this fuss was all about, didn't you? It was starting to resonate with you. So I would love to talk about two things next. Like, talk about, you had hit kind of a plateau, it sounds like, with your health. You got so far and did so amazing, but you were at this point where, like, is there more? Could I get to that next level, as Brooke Thomas always talks about? And at this same token, you also saw a whole different side where there is massive need, there is massive opportunity. So can you tell us a little bit about this journey that you investigated, you researched, you looked, and can you tell us what your journey has been like and the results that you have seen, really focusing on restoring gut health and getting the microbiome correct in your body? Tell us what's happened.
Yeah, so there's like the physical side, and then there's also the opening up to opportunity side, right? Because I think those were two separate avenues and both huge areas of opportunity. Um, the reason I went out to California is because I needed to meet these people. You know, I needed to meet the people behind the company because I did have a lot of questions, and I don't have any experience in network marketing or anything like it, except that I worked on the corporate side for a network marketing company. So I saw where a lot of corners are cut in most companies in product development.
Right.
And it led me to be extraordinarily skeptical of dietary supplements because I was in the office working with the people formulating the products, educating the field about the products. And I just know what gets done to make margin and enable commission payouts and all of that. And I wasn't interested in anything less than the best because I work hard for my money, you know? So Brooke said, you need to go out there, you need to meet them. And it was so different from any other conversation I've had with business owners, with anybody in the dietary supplement world. And I just knew that this was a situation where no corners are being cut.
Right.
And I needed to hear that. And I needed to ask the difficult questions. And I needed to kind of corner people and say, okay, well, what about this? And what about this? And I just needed to do that for myself. At the same time, what was happening was the changes in my own body. And a lot of them have been maybe 2 or 3 months after starting taking the products. To kind of backtrack a little bit, when I was 16, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome and told that having a child naturally would not really be an easy thing for me. And many times since then, I saw fertility doctors in my 20s who said the same thing. When I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's a couple years ago, they said the same thing because all endocrine disorders. But nobody ever mentioned the microbiome, ever. And then I worked with Boston IVF about 1.5 years ago to freeze my eggs. And they had the same conversation. So glad you're doing this because getting pregnant naturally is probably not in the cards for you.
Wow.
After I had been on the products for maybe 3 months, I would say, my partner and I said, let's just try to start a family. And he knew, and I knew that not only because of my endocrine challenges, but also because of my age, that it might not be the easiest thing. And we conceived our first month trying. I know. So I know. So I am about a few days away from entering my second trimester.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know that it is because I focused on my microbiome, which nobody talked to me about. But since then, as I've been doing research, people are using analysis of the microbiome to not only diagnose, but also treat endometriosis, which is another endocrine disorder that impairs fertility, and all sorts of other things. They're looking at the way that different strains reduce inflammation, because inflammation is a huge factor in infertility, the way that different strains of bacteria balance out hormones, including estrogen, because one of the big risks of dysbiosis or bacterial imbalance, not having a healthy microbiome, is estrogen dominance.
Right.
That's an issue in men and women. And it was one of my primary issues. And a lot of why I struggled with my weight too, because the bacteria are what help us metabolize estrogen. And if we don't have the right bacteria, we can't metabolize estrogen. It just builds up in our system. And that's weight issues, mood issues, depression and inflammation, infertility, PCOS, thyroid issues, everything that I was dealing with. Yeah.
Those little bugs were so important in her body. It's so,
I know.
When you really think about it, it's disgusting.
Well,
it's so crucial. It's like,
and it's so much more than gut health.
Totally.
It's so much more than that. And so I just know that Brooke coming into my life when she did, that me pushing past legit fears and reservations at first was all part of this process and this journey.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I just love your story. And you truly are a pioneer in every way. When I came to, when I should say, when Amare came to me, I was not looking for it, but I yet was looking for it because I had a very sick husband. And so I was continuously looking for help for him. And as I'm listening to you, I'm just once again blown away at the vastness of this, how somebody who is having a brain issue, how the restoring gut health and connected to the brain has affected him. And then I look at my own hormones, I listen to what your story, what you've gone through, how it is all interrelated. Yeah. And yet it makes sense.
It does.
It just makes sense. And you know what I had found in all the years that I had been in the wellness industry for 24 years, Elizabeth. And in the last 10 years, I was seeing this shift where people were so physically healthy, but yet behind closed doors, they were not mentally healthy. And so many people were on SSRIs and they were having some gut issues and they felt bloated and they felt off and they were feeling very, very overwhelmed. And I was seeing this transition of everyone having gluten issues and having, different food sensitivities. And the problem that I was seeing is I was doing all the right things and they were doing all the right things. And I was like, what is left? Like, we're doing all the right things, but something's still off.
Yeah.
And so when I hear someone like you, the same story, and this isn't going to fix everything, but it's amazing how the human body will respond, when everything is, in order and connected and able to communicate, that first brain and second brain, and it gets to, the communication going. So you found hope, you found some solutions for you. And just because of who you are a servant. You are constantly serving others. And you also looked at a different side of this, an opportunity to be able to serve others in the masses. Can you tell us about that? Because this was a big shift for you. It was a big deal.
Well, as a business owner, the one thing I felt like I didn't have much of was time. My business does well, but it also, as much as I own it, it kind of owns me, Mm-hmm. And I talk to people every single day who feel limited in some way, usually multiple ways. And I felt that way. Like, is this the limit of my health? Is this the limit of my time freedom? Is this the limit of my financial freedom? And one of my mantras in life is have no limits. Do not limit yourself. Break through all of those limits because most of them begin in our mind.
Amen.
And so I talk to people who feel limited by their past patterns, or they feel limited by their job, or they feel limited by how much money is coming in or how much time that they have. And I feel just as passionate in all of those areas about helping people break through those limits, refuse the limits. One of my girlfriends texted me this morning just to check in on me, and she said, hold infinite possibility. And I love that. And if I can get one other person to decide to embrace infinite possibility for their health, for their mental wellness, for their finances, for their time, for their family's future, that is life-changing for me and for them. Yeah. But it has to start, with me. People always ask me, like, how do I get my so-and-so, my sister, my partner, my kids, my parents to get on board with taking better care of themselves? And my advice is always the same, and it comes from the author Anne Lamott. And she talks about how lighthouses save a lot of people, but they don't do it by getting into the water and dragging the boat ashore. They do it because they are a light so bright that others are drawn to it. And so
that
it has, good. Isn't it? And it's that so true.
So good. I seriously got goosebumps again. I love it.
So true. And so for
you, be a light, be a lighthouse.
So bright that others are drawn to it. And so for those of us who in any area of our life, our time, our money, our health, our relationships, our careers, are settling, are not going to that next level, we are not only robbing ourselves of something much more that is available to us, but we have an opportunity to get to that next level so other people are more likely to come to that next level. So I didn't want to accept a limit for my health. I don't want to accept a limit for my time or my finances. You know, when I found out that I was pregnant, I sort of was like, well, this is one of the downsides of being self-employed, because I can't call my boss and be like, hey, that 3-month maternity leave thing, like, sign me up.
Right,
I work for myself. And I felt limited. I felt like my time was limited or my income was limited. Because sure, I could step back. I could not do a launch. I could not work with clients for a quarter, but that would limit my income. And I don't want to be limited in any way.
Love it.
And this is one of the ways that I'm removing limits on my life, my health, my wealth, my time. And I'm doing it because I want it, but I'm doing it to be a lighthouse so that nobody else thinks that, oh, we're doing okay financially is satisfactory, or that I'm better than I used to be is satisfactory. Because not only do you owe it to yourself and to your family, you owe it to everybody else.
Oh, so good. I call that you're so over it. And that's where we were 2 years ago. I was over it, Elizabeth. We were living out of a camper on the verge of bankruptcy. My husband was sicker than a dog in between 2 brain surgeries. And I remember being in that moment, realizing that a platform had been put right in front of me, an opportunity. And what felt like the worst time in my life sometimes is the best time in your life. Yeah. And when I look at what has happened in the last 2 years and the people that I feel God has blessed us with, people like you, I didn't know who you were. And had we not stepped into that light of obedience and pioneered and blazed a trail with many other good people that also took a leap of faith, we would not be here today.
Yeah.
And my husband is off all medications and side effects because of what we're doing here. We are bringing thousands of people and soon millions of people hope and help and solutions. And we are creating so many jobs from all levels, all positions, all incomes. And I do feel like even with our healthcare system, I was stuck in, had healthcare, I had insurance, and yet you get one rare disease and it can wipe you clean. Yeah. And I could sit there and feel sorry for ourselves, as you could have felt sorry for yourself as a little girl and all that you went through, or you followed the light and you rose up. Yeah. And I listened to what you said, and I am so in awe of who and what you are, and so honored to be partnered with you on this mission to take this out and serve as many people. Elizabeth, our highest position in our company is called servant leadership. And my dear, you will be there soon, because you are a natural born servant to lead others. And we need more than ever in this health crisis situation in our world. Mental health is now a world conversation. It is not for the mentally ill. It is for every single person. Yeah. And part of that is our health. Part of that is our mindset. Part of that is our mindfulness. Part of that is our wealth. Or lack of. And so I love that you are so bold to be able to do something different, because often the industry of network marketing and direct sales has a stigmatism around it, just like mental health. And so talk about putting two like very strong, like stigmatism things together and exploding it, right? That's what we're doing. And so I want to give you this bit of hope as you have this baby. Okay? I've been in this industry for 24 years. Many years I felt not respected for what I did, I'm going to be honest, but yet I was able to serve hundreds and thousands of lives over the years, right? And then my husband fell ill. And it was because of the residual income that I brought in from this industry, I was able to care for him for almost 5 years. Yeah. And I'll tell you, during that 5-year period, we were refined, and I fell all in love with this all over again. There is something beautiful about being an entrepreneur and having residual income. And I'm so excited for you to have that experience. And for any one of you listening, it is real and it exists. And I'm an example of that. And Elizabeth, you will soon be an example of that. So I love the Lighthouse. I love everything that you said. And Elizabeth, can you just share, if there was one more thing that's on your heart to share with everybody, what would that be?
I almost said no to this opportunity
Mm.
because I didn't think I was that kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not a salesperson, because I don't have a big network. Yes, I own a business, but my personal network, it's teeny, teeny. And because I was afraid. It was new. It was scary. I had worked on the corporate side and also experienced, people who are pushing things in a negative way.
Right, for sure.
But what I said to myself was, if I'm going to entertain all the reasons and ways this might not be right for me, then I at least owe it to myself to give the same amount of energy and thought to what if it is right for me? What if this is a great thing? What if this could change my life, right? If I'm going to go down the, nope, not for me, I can't, not what I'm into, okay, explore that. But also explore the other side. Don't just think the way you've always thought, because you have to think differently to show up differently, to create any change in your life. So I think it's fine to have those fears, those doubts, those reservations. And I know that there are some people listening to this who have maybe been following you for a long time, or following me for a long time, who've been thinking, maybe not for me, whatever. At least do yourself the mental exercise of exploring the other side in everything, but especially in opportunity. Because the easy path is the way you've always thought. The fear, the doubt, the I can't, the reasons it won't work, that's the easy part. Mm-hmm. But stretch your brain, not necessarily to say yes, but just to explore the other side. And when I did that, there was a dramatically stronger case for yes than for no, for growth than for staying the same, for building my skill set and my network and my experiences than not. And I think that's just true for a lot of people.
It's so good. I hope every single person that's listening to this is writing down notes. I'll tell you what, everybody, Primal Potential, you've got to download this Beautiful Souls podcast. It is incredible. And you want to get her book, Chasing Cupcakes. You can order it on Amazon. It's in paperback, Audible, and Kindle. So lots of ways that you can get this. What you just heard, nuggets in here after nuggets, like you want to get a highlighter and circle and like cry over it and laugh over it. This is excellent. Just a great, great read. And blessings to you in this new adventure of a beautiful opportunity of servant leadership to help people in a whole new way, in a whole new light. And I'm going to continue to pray over the miracle that is in your belly. And I'm so grateful that you shared that amazing journey. And that was one thing when I was looking at microbiome and gut-brain connection health, I was fearful. Could this really help hormonal balance? Yes.
Oh, in a big way.
In a huge way. In a
huge way.
It is what it is. It obviously didn't hurt you, Elizabeth.
No.
Right?
No.
So
it's so major.
So much. And for everybody listening, if you want to learn more about this mission and journey called Amare Global, which I am proclaiming will be a household name around the world, please reach out to Elizabeth. Please reach out to me. If you're listening to this recording, reach out to the person that sent you this. They cared enough to share. And that's exactly, Elizabeth, what you're doing. So thank you so much. You are a gift to all who know.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. God bless everybody.